Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 4 is just a few hours away. We're now past the halfway mark of the Deborah Chow series, and things are about to get intense. Kenobi and Vader had their first fight last week, Reva kidnapped Leia again, and all signs point to Clone Wars flashbacks coming really soon, either this week or next. And we did get a couple of hints in part 3 about what might come in this episode. So the inevitable question is, what can we expect? Well, usually guys, we would turn to the leaks, but as a few of you pointed out, you don't want to be spoiled. So today we're just going to do pure speculation, no leaks, just a few theories I have, and then afterwards we've got a news update from some of the cast. So no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. The second half of the Kenobi show is a mystery. We just don't know what's going to happen next. Personally, I think episode 4 is the perfect place for flashbacks and that juicy fan service we've all been craving since the first episode gave us that prequel montage. I've said it since the beginning, that was a huge hint of things to come. But going into episode 4, Obi-Wan's been burnt pretty bad, and he's going to take some time to heal and probably reflect on his past with Anakin. He's going to gain strength in the Force by meditating in preparation for their second duel, and just the trauma of seeing what his apprentice became, that's probably going to be a big factor in triggering those PTSD flashbacks, the new ones that were rumoured with Anakin and Obi-Wan. And when I say flashbacks, I don't just mean the ones we've already had from the prequels, I'm talking about new ones they shot with Hayden and Ewan. In that meditation, Kenobi's going to try to remember everything he can about Anakin, and you would assume a big part of this would be the battle on Mustafar, just after Anakin turned to the dark side, and even though the suit restricts him in many ways, this is peak Vader. He's at his strongest point in this show, which is really exciting knowing we are getting a second fight. But as I say, it's not going to be this week. The second fight's probably going to be in episode 5, but most likely 6. And as we do know, it's very likely that Kenobi's also going to play on Vader's emotions, so we might also get flashbacks to Anakin's softer side, remembering Padme as well. I would love some new Padme flashbacks. It is very unlikely that Natalie Portman was involved in the Kenobi show, but I would love to be wrong about that. And speaking about all of these visions, I think a lot of these will be on the way to the planet of Jabiim, which is where the early rebel partisan base is. This is where Tala Durith, Quinlan Vos, and O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character have been smuggling the Force-sensitive children for their protection. And one thing I find fascinating about possibly seeing Jabiim in live action is how Lucasfilm can canonize parts of the Republic comics and the Revenge of the Sith novelization, because in Legends, Kenobi is familiar with the planet, and when he gets there, if they do take this route, then he's going to be reminded of the Battle of Jabiim during the Clone Wars. Another perfect opportunity for fan service in the form of flashbacks, hallucinations, and as I say guys, at one point during the Clone Wars, even though it never made it into the animated series, Anakin and Obi-Wan were stationed on Jabiim. Now despite Jabiim's current non-canon status, Disney has gradually reintegrated certain Legends events and characters back into canon over time. The references to Jabiim in Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 3 were the first time the planet received any recognition in live action, and this could possibly tease that in a future tie-in novel or comic, the Battle of Jabiim will be canon. But as I say, it takes one acknowledgement of the battle to make it canon. Now a massive question I think we all have going into episode 4 is, are we going to see Quinlan Vos? Personally, while I'm not ruling anything out, I would be very surprised. His name drop could just be an Easter egg that ties in maybe in the Bad Batch or a different series, but if we see him in the flesh, that would be incredible, because they did confirm he survived Order 66 and he helps Tala Durith every now and again. I would love to see him come back, and especially to see him interact with Obi-Wan. Now, a lot of what we're going to see in the next episode is going to be the build-up to Kenobi's fight with Vader, the proper fight, the second fight where Kenobi's at full power again, but that's not going to happen until he's reconnected to the Force, and probably not until he's heard the Force voice of Qui-Gon Jinn respond to him. And Kenobi by the end of the series is going to be a drastically changed man. His confidence is starting to elevate now that he sees the good that Bail Organa, Tala and the Rebellion are doing underground. And even though right now he's at an all-time low physically and morale-wise, he is Obi-Wan Kenobi and he's gonna bounce back stronger than ever. I've seen a lot of fans criticize how broken and hopeless Kenobi is. I've even seen some folks call him Jake Kenobi. Well, I think those folks fail to realize just how much Kenobi's been through and how the pain he feels having lost Anakin to the dark side, mixed with the unforgiving unforgiving heat of the twin suns for the last 10 years is unbearable, not to mention the fact he's not been connected to the Force, so obviously he's not going to be Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan just yet, but he is getting there, that's what Deborah Chow promised. But we've got to be patient with this story, we're halfway through, and I'm sure these last 3 episodes are really going to deliver that character development. So moving away from Obi-Wan specifically, one very interesting aspect of the unfolding story that we've got to consider is Reva's second kidnapping of Princess Leia. In yesterday's video, I broke down what I think Reva's grand plan is. To put it simply, she wants Vader dead, but something many fans have been wondering about is how does Reva know so much about Vader's backstory and that of Obi-Wan as well? Well, some theories state she saw the security hologram that Yoda and Obi-Wan saw in episode 3. But regardless, one thing is very clear, that Reva wants as much information as possible. And this ties into Princess Leia. What if going into episode 4, Reva interrogates the young princess and begins to understand elements of Leia's identity, such as the Organas not being her biological parents? It could be here where Reva questions why Obi-Wan would come out of hiding to save this princess, and begins piecing desperate clues together surrounding Obi-Wan and the Organas, what secrets they're keeping. Now, in truth, I don't know if Reva's ever going to work it out, but her getting close to the truth and the separation of the twins could be very dangerous for our heroes. Now, I don't want to speculate too much more, let's just wait and see what happens, but those are just some theories and ideas that have been floating around in my brain going into episode 4. Now, we also have some new poster reveals from the official Star Wars page. I've been obsessed with the layout and art style of these, especially the twin suns with one character in their eye. Well, in these brand new ones, we have Darth Vader, Tala Jarith, and the new droid, Ned B. And the caption for these 3 they've gone for is the famous quote from part 3, "I am what you made me." And this brings up a really interesting question for the rest of the series. After their first fight, if you can even call it that, Obi-Wan is going to be riddled with guilt and torment, but he's got to be brave for the fate of the galaxy and for the eventual New Hope. And so now guys, a quick update from Bonnie Peace, who plays Aunt Beru, although admittedly, and to our dismay, she's not had any screen time beyond the scene where Obi-Wan is looking through those binoculars at the last homestead. I really hope she has some dialogue before the end of the season, it'd be such a waste if she didn't. But in either case, Bonnie has teased an epic finale episode for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. We've heard actors often do this for the Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian, but Bonnie Peace is telling fans to be patient because the final episode is epic. In her own words, she says, "I know it's really cliche to say I was pinching myself, but I actually literally was. Looking around the sets and being like, okay, don't take this for granted, it was awesome. I won't give anything away because that would be bad, but I would say Beru's whole role and her biggest care in the world is Luke. She just wants to take care of Luke, and we've seen in A New Hope the older Beru was saying he's not a farmer, so she does know that Luke has a different destiny. And as I say guys, I don't want to talk about the leaks, but the final leak does state we are going to see the last homestead in the final episode, much more close up, and we are going to see more of 10-year-old Luke. So it does promise a bigger appearance and role for Aunt Beru. And she finally hints, I will say that the final episode, I think, is going to be extraordinary. Fingers crossed, let's wait and see. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below guys. How are you feeling going into episode 4? We're so close, just a few hours away. As always guys, I will be doing my full episode breakdown. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow. May the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg, may the Force be with you always.